how big a deal is this then? The market's taking this seriously, but without any details of when and where a signing's going to take place. I suppose there's a nervousness still.
Yeah, there is nervousness, and but there's somewhat relief that it looks like they're moving closer to this deal. What this would allow is China and the U.S. to proportionally roll back these tariffs. The phase one, we still don't know how much of a rollback it would be, but it sounds like they're getting closer to a deal, and we heard that from the Ministry of Commerce spokesman, that they are getting close to a deal, that the last few weeks they've had good talks. So I think the markets are responding favorably because this is a piece of good news we've gotten after a fair bit of uncertainty in previous days. It sounded like they were close to a deal. They were trying to decide where to have it. And then China said, no, they didn't want to have it in Alaska or Iowa. That was the last we heard. And now we're hearing that they're working out the terms of this deal, which could be a roadmap to other parts of a deal as well.
Well, close to a small deal, right, Jodi? Because, I mean, at the very basic, at the core of what's going on here, Donald Trump is asking Xi Jinping to stop taking such a big slice of the pie. So there's no real future deal where China says, OK, we'll give up as much of our advantages as we can.
That's right. It's a very limited deal. What this when they're calling it phase one in sort of a hopeful way that there will be other phases, but basically it's a limited deal. It would allow China to, or it would require China to purchase more U.S. goods, mostly agricultural goods like soybeans, to purchase them again because they had stopped purchasing them once the tariffs began. And on the U.S. side, it would have tariff relief from the U.S. So basically, we're not talking about structural changes to China's economy. We're not talking about some of the big, broad issues on technology transfer that had been part of earlier talks. At this point, they're talking about a limited deal that would presumably allow them to continue talking.
Okay, so we clearly the markets are moving on this, Jodi. One of the things that's been talked about a lot in the last few days has been the location of any signing. Do we know any more about where's being talked about or where is likely to be a location for this to be signed? I understand it was quite politically difficult for the Chinese to talk about coming to going to the US.
Yeah, when and where has been the question, Anna, lately. They were going to try to do this deal in November in Chile at an international summit, but that was canceled because of protests there. So then it was up in the air. The U.S. tried to push for Iowa and Alaska. China said no to that, saying, well, maybe Asia, maybe Europe, maybe November, maybe December. So we still don't know. But the fact that now we do know that the Chinese delegates are saying, or the Chinese negotiators are saying that they've had good talks over the previous 2 weeks indicates they've been making progress. And the fact that they're willing to announce and that the Chinese side is announcing how these tariffs would be removed is really a positive sign. It shows that they could probably work out where they would meet. But it is politically sensitive for the Chinese leader. He doesn't want to be seen as giving up too much to the U.S. And of course, Donald Trump does not want to be seen as giving up too much to the Chinese. So it's a bit of a dance right now. But again, this is very positive news, certainly given that the last few days have been very uncertain in terms of whether they were even going to get a deal. This looks much more likely that they're going to have this limited deal. How and when they sign it is still up in the air.